morning, my AKAPADers. A quick word, because the video that's about to play here, this is the introduction to the introduction. It's been a trial by fire, pun intended there. I'm going to bring you Power of Shazam. The original video, the original intro, everything you're about to see was shot through the course of a few days. I kind of just wanted to put that out there so you can understand if things really don't look consistent and don't have my normal flow. With that said, let's go. Like, is the hat on right? AKAPADers, we got something cool here. Let me grab it right here. Shazam, Power of Shazam. I know I've been teasing this a lot, but it's St. Paddy's Day, and I'm not with you. Well, it's actually like St. Paddy's celebration day too. In Philadelphia and PA, and maybe a little bit of Jersey, St. Paddy's Day is almost like 3 weekends long. It's arduous, it's hard, it's tough on the liver. You have to drink a lot of alcohol. You have to have the green stuff, by the way. You have to have, can I say it again? You have to have the green stuff for St. Paddy's Day. But I'm doing that right now. So I'm not doing any of this, but we're just doing some pre-recorded content. I have to share this with you. I feel like it's fair. I've been teasing this a lot. I've been going through this so much recently. It's been in like my work bag. I sit down at Starbucks or a different coffee shop, and I'm taking calls and I'm flipping through this, and the call ends and the email's over, and I'm like rereading sections of this because so much of this is intertwined with the Shazam or the Captain Marvel movie serial that really put the character in the culture and in the lexicon. And remember, Shazam or Captain Marvel and Superman are a two-headed dragon. They're a two-headed beast. And Shazam was the one that jumped out, like media-wise, other content-wise, other communication tools-wise. Meaning Shazam hit the big screen before Superman. And that is highly significant on the heels of Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods completely crashing and destroying everything and burning at the box office. But we're doing more Captain Marvel books, we're doing more Captain Marvel content, regardless of all of that, because I like deep dives, I like study, and I like sharing that with all of you. But this is really, and before we hit the drawing table, I just have to say, this is what I consider to be one of the greatest single graphic novels, meaning it came out like this. It's not a collection of floppies that later got recollected. This is the intended vision for this book. And you might be like, Pete, well, like, what's the difference? Page count, page quality, print type, print quality. You following me? All of these decisions were made before you hit pen, pencil, and paper to produce the actual work. The end result kind of came first, and then later they were like, this is what we can do with this type of printing. This is what we can do with this type of technology. And we're doing it with Captain Marvel or Shazam. And we just have to say, Shazam is the name of the wizard. It's not the name of this guy. This is Captain Marvel. Let's get into it. And the star of the show is right here. Now, people, we have Jerry Ordway here. We have the Power of Shazam. Jerry Ordway wrote, colored, drew, inked, did all of the artwork for everything we're about to lay eyes on. The work that Jerry Ordway did on this book really solidified his future career in DC Comics. He worked on just about everything and really became an artistic influence. To counter that, if you want to compare Jerry Ordway to someone with a similar career, even somewhat of a similar style, look at Lee Weeks at Marvel. He came up through Daredevil. But before we get into this, I just want to introduce you guys to a little bit of the path. So, DC Comics, they consolidated everything and they did what was called Crisis of Infinity Earths. Crisis of Infinity Earths redid it all. It was like their first major reboot. All the rights, all the other characters, everything that they had from all the other companies, and all these separate Earths and timelines, got smashed into one single stream. Now, that's advertised right here, History of the DC Universe. This was a 2-part prestige format book series. I'll throw that up right now just so you guys can have a little bit of context. And Crisis went to Legends. And Legends was, now famous for the first appearance of Amanda Waller, the new Suicide Squad. People forget Suicide Squad was a paramilitary unit, first appeared in Brave and the Bold. But look, Shazam was not a part of the DC lexicon, and this graphic novel is a reintroduction of the concepts and the big ideas of Shazam, even some of them stemming from the original Wiz comic book series and the movie serial that predated Superman coming to the big screen or the Superman cartoon. But we'll get into this because this provides a different solution to the Shazam tropes. And we're like kind of like the bullet points of his origin. We're going to get into this also. I understand we don't get many views. Now, Shazam 4-issue miniseries leads into the New 52, another consolidation, another reintroduction, and Jeff Johns is really... It's like, here's the path, people. We have the original Wiz Comics Shazam. Then we have the Jerry Ordway piece. And then we do have the Jeff Johns interpretation and run, where famously he gave Shazam the cloak. Or like the hooded cloak. So, we gotta get into this. Now, I have to say, I love the typeface here. I love the graphic design. I love... There's just something about kerning and justification where things look blocky in type and they look a little bit off. Somehow you're drawn to that. But I love the insert art here with the Shazam logo. Power of Shazam. See what I mean about the movie serial? Black and white. And we get right into it. Now... We open in Egypt. This is, I believe it was Curse of the Scorpion, episode 1 of the Shazam movie serial. There was an archaeological, like, adventure type theme to that first episode. And we get that here. And we essentially get Billy Batson. We get his father, his mother, and we get Adam. So they're uncovering treasures. And Adam just gets... See, Adam gets taken by the potential power, and it's like he's greedy or he's just straight up evil. But what essentially happens is that Billy Batson, they get into this tussle over this one scarab, this one jewel here, necklace, and it gets bad, it gets horrific, it gets dangerous. Great illustration right here. But essentially, I mean, Billy Batson's father gets murdered. The wife escapes, gets out of the temple, pursued by Adam back to their house, back to their hotel. We have a early Shazam reference in here. This is Tawny, Mr. Tawny the tiger. But you can see that she hides the scarab inside Tawny. And he kills her. He kills Billy Batson's wife or Billy Batson's mother. And he kills the maid and takes the girl. And we don't find out what happens to the girl in all of this. Now, also, big shout out, Frank Miller. Awesome for doing the bird's eye checkered floor. He did that in Daredevil, did that in Sin City. But here we go. So we have, look, Wiz Comics. Wiz, W-H-I-Z. That's a trope now that's used in nearly every interpretation of Shazam. We incorporate Wiz to some capacity. But now we're going to get maybe one of the greatest comic book illustrations you have ever seen. Young Billy Batson, now homeless, orphan, exiled, selling papers in the city. I love this detail here with the tail lights for the cars. But yeah, so essentially Billy Batson just doesn't have a good night, doesn't have a good day, gets approached by this ghostly man, and he's like, "Kid, you wanna you wanna come with me?" And this kid's like, "What?" and they take a magical train. People, if you're into Harry Potter, this is your stuff. But they really take a magical train to the secret 7 deadly enemies of man tunnel that we have: pride, envy, hatred, selfishness, laziness. The 7 deadly sins lead right into an old man. And this old guy's like, look, I got this power. Shazam. Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury. It's like, kid, you want a piece of it? The kid's like, And then the old man's like, look, kid. The old dude's like, look, Billy, we know you had this busted life. He gets, and this is what I love about the real origin of Billy Batson. He gets thrown out by like his uncle, who steals like the family's money and bonds, and literally throws the kid into the street, where he just lives in like this little like cul-de-sac here, or this little gutter. That's what I'm looking for. So Billy's like, look, dude. He's like, don't remind me, like, what are you doing? And he's like, look, if you just say my name, because remember, Shazam is the wizard. The guy that he becomes is Captain Marvel. Shazam's the wizard, Captain Marvel. But we call him Shazam now, and I hate that. But yeah, so Billy Batson, now transformed into Captain Marvel, kind of just goes through this crisis. And this is where, like, in the movies, you would get this as like a training sequence, like I'm going to learn to fly or climb up a wall. But he throws the wizard. He's trying to figure out his powers. You can see he picks up the wizard's throne and almost like throws it at him, tries to kill him. And the wizard's like, look, dude, you have to trust me. And that's pretty much like what the exchange is. And so the guy that finds Billy, the hooded ghost dude, okay, he comes back and he's like, Billy, Captain Marvel, relax. And then from there, he just transforms back into Billy Batson, and we get Sylvana. So Sylvana, he's in the movie. He's here. His best portrayal is in the 80s cartoon series. That portrayal of him and Mr. Mind is gold. But look at I love the architecture here. I just love the interior, the colors. And this is something that Jerry Ordway does well. And I talk about this a lot. So let's just go back real quick. When we're in the desert, okay, it's yellow, it's gold, it's brown, it's burnt umber. But then even when we're still in the desert, we work in more lighter hues. We're working more like ivory, bone white. We know we're in a different environment. And then when we get to the city, it's dark brown, it's more black, it's more pure contrast. Okay, so just by flipping through this, we know we're in different environments. When we get onto the train, it's all green. When we get to the cave, it's more white. Okay, Ordway is so delicate and exact when he does this, but essentially we get the plot. These are officials from Egypt. They're like, hey, we know something. We reconstructed that temple, that cave-in over here. We reconstructed that. We know people were murdered. Your guy murdered Batson. We're here to restore their reputations. And I love that line. And Dr. Silvani's like, look, I needed that temple. We're doing like a World's Fair. It's the centerpiece. And this dude that's with the official of the Egyptian government, he's the guy from the beginning. He's got his throat slit. He can't talk. But they get out of there. We go to Adam. We find out that Adam really is a dangerous guy, not to be messed with. Billy Batson is sleeping in his gutter. But while he's sleeping in the gutter, he finds these guys trying to bomb the Wiz building that we saw over here, because they just ran a news report basically calling out these guys. And they're like, well, let's fix it. So they want to blow it up. I'm not joking. Shazam shows up. This dude's like, why does he look familiar? He looks like Billy Batson. Because this is the guy from Egypt from earlier. That's Adam. They tussle. He takes the bomb. He's like, I don't even know how to defuse this. So he just throws it across the river. Awesome shot here, too. But yeah, blows it up. We got another chase. We got a crushing of a car. Superhero stuff. This is the most disturbing part of this, by the way, people. Shazam is flying over a Zeppelin. and he changes back into Billy Batson, and he starts to fall. And then when he lands on the Zeppelin, he says Shazam, and sets the entire Zeppelin on fire with a tanker truck. And we're only to assume that hundreds of people have now vanished. Moving on, Shazam just flies off. And then we get this really cool sequence where he's kind of just like lost. He's mumbling. Billy Batson's trying to get his self together. And he's in the terminal. He's in the tunnel for the trains. And this dude walks up to him. And instantly he's transported back to the cave with the wizard. And I love that transition. And, like, we know, and it's not even at the hands of focal point here, but we know what happens, and there's no trickery other than you're engaged in the story when you're reading. Wonderful little addition there. But yeah, so we get Billy Batson snaps out of reality. He sees that there is a little bit of a difference between like what the wizard can do versus, because look, Billy Batson comes out. He's like ready to throw a punch. Dr. Savani here. Now, keep in mind, people, this is like an Art Deco city, Art Deco-ish New York. And everything we see here is Art Deco inspired, which is also referenced in the earlier pages right here. But yeah, so we finally got to Scarab. Adam figures out, like, he just figures out that it's Shazam, it's Billy Batson, the reason why the two of them look alike, like all this stuff. He figures it out, but he's got bad intentions. So when he uses the Shazam word with the Scarab that's linked to the wizard's power, he turns into Black Adam, and essentially he busts out of Savini's building and immediately sets it on fire. And that's almost like the last we see of Savini here. We have Billy Batson going to school. We have Black Adam, who just basically is flying around the city with the Scarab, and he just sees the gutter, and he's like, "Hey, that looks like Billy Batson's stuff." Boom, the officials, they come to like, again, it's a little bit understated, but you see that they're going out to arrest Dr. Savini. Black Adam sees them in the car. Another great car shot here. We get our superhero fight, Black Adam versus Shazam. As anytime Shazam's introduced ever, his first fight, his first villain, his first real conflict should be against Black Adam. We get our nice Betty Page Rocketeer reference here. But yeah, they fight. They bust through walls. They end up at the World's Fair, where they're in the reconstruction of the Egyptian temple. Savani's building burns. We have a great report here. Now, keep in mind, too, like some of the other textures here, this is Jerry Ordway just using, maybe like a different grade paper, or he's like the shadowing for the smoke and the fog is very interesting. But yeah, we have a steel girder fight, as you need with superheroes. More fight, little exposition. Shazam figures out that Black Adam's power is linked through the Scarab, transforms Adam back to human, drops him off to the cops, and then we get this revelation. We get the wizard. So part of the Shazam story too is him eventually not needing the wizard. Shazam gaining, or Captain Marvel gaining enough wisdom to where the wizard's almost obsolete. Now, the ghostly dude turns out to be Billy's father, and Billy's like, "Of course I knew that was you, Dad. I was playing along." He goes to the school. We see Savani here creeping around, but he goes back to the school as Billy Batson's relative. The school teacher kind of hits on him, and then Shazam flies off, and we have Dr. Savini itching for revenge, looking at Shazam fly off. So now, and as we beg the question, does he know what the secret is? People, this is a masterpiece. It's also a crash course. Real quick, the one thing I wanted to highlight is it's not very wordy, and this is written very much like an artist would write this. This style of writing, we praise Frank Miller for it when it comes to Daredevil and Sin City, but we bash Todd McFarlane for it for Spawn and Spider-Man. To me, all three of those, the style, the phonication, the short word balloons, the lack of captions, it's a style and it's an artist style. So keep that in mind, but I think this is like the height, everything I just named there, I think this is like the height of all three of those, to be quite honest. People, this is a masterpiece. It's insanely cheap. Go get it. Go get this book. And we're back. So we got 2 more Shazam books. I'm not abandoning the project. We're just going to do either like double drops, or we're dropping the other Shazam content this coming week. You know, pretty much doing like 2-a-day videos, and it really is, and it breaks my heart. But nobody wants these books. Nobody wants to know about them. Nobody wants to study them. Nobody even wants the historical footnotes of this character and how significant Captain Marvel is in the overall idea. The idea of the American superhero catching fire and grabbing the culture and the lexicon with 2 giant god hands, all right? That's what Captain Marvel did for all of us. Any of us that when we walk down the street and we see like a logo on the shirt and we know it's superhero related, we have Captain Marvel to thank, and arguably thank more than what we would do with Superman. All day, all night, guys. And girls. There's a girl out there. I think I see you. Oh, hey. Anyway, let's get this stuff done. Let's keep going. Subscribe, support, leave a comment. We are a pet-friendly channel. Show this video to all of your pets. They love it. We're going to keep going. We're not slowing down. Let's go.